Let's talk about the hot topic everyone seems to be debating. Was the Pope embalmed, or did he get some new mysterious process called Thanatopraxy? Spoiler alert. They're basically the same thing, but let's break it down. So people are swearing up and down online, no, the Pope wasn't embalmed, he had Thanatopraxy. I get it, it sounds fancier, but here's a little industry secret from your friendly neighborhood mortician. Are you ready? Thanatopraxy is just embalming, especially as practiced in Europe and Latin America. It literally translates to death practice. They just swapped out the Latin roots for the English ones, and voila, now it's Thanatopraxy. Let's get nerdy for a second. Traditional embalming, the kind you're probably picturing, was developed in the 1800s and became mainstream in the US during the Civil War, when bodies had to be shipped back long distances. Embalming means draining the blood and replacing it with a chemical preservative to keep the body from decomposing quickly. The main difference from Thanatopraxy, usually the chemicals. In the US, we're known for going heavy on the formaldehyde. In Europe, they use milder solutions like fluotan. Yes, are less harsh and marketed as more natural or gentle. But whether you're injecting formaldehyde, fluotan, or unicorn tears, okay, not really, but the process is the same. You drain the blood through the arteries. You replace it with preservative fluid. You position the body so it looks peaceful for public viewing. Think of it like this. Saying the Pope wasn't embalmed because he had Thanatopraxy is like saying you're not eating pizza. You're having flatbread with tomato sauce and cheese. Same exact thing. So let's put this to rest. If you see headlines about how the Pope avoided embalming because of his wishes, but then it says his blood was drained and he was injected with fluotan, congratulations, that's arterial embalming.
Congratulations.
That's what we do in funeral homes around the world every single day. So next time someone in the comments tries to get technical, just remember, whether you call it embalming, Thanatopraxy, or preservation by injection, the end result is the same. The Pope was embalmed using arterial injection.
Brilliant! Check the gate, moving on.
Follow me for more tales from the mortuary, myth-busting, and a little mortician magic, because dead men do tell tales, and I'm here to spill the tea. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye-bye. Did you notice that big old bruise on the Pope's face during his public viewing? Yeah, you're not alone. People are freaking out online and the rumors are flying. Was it a fall? A murder mystery? Did the Vatican embalmer sneeze and smack him by accident? Okay, let's reel it in. I'm Lauren the Mortician, here to break down why that bruise is actually pretty normal in the death business. So grab your rosaries. We're talking mortuary science, not miracles. So first up is trauma before death. If someone falls or bumps their head even gently, especially if they're on blood thinners, super common for elderly folks, they can develop a massive bruise fast. When the heart's still pumping, any little bump can create a pool of blood under the skin. And for someone super frail, it might not take much. A soft tap could leave them looking like they lost a bar fight. But Lauren, what if a bruise shows up after someone already died? This is what we call post-mortem ecchymosis, when the body's moved, dressed, or even just handled during normal prep, embalming. The skin is like overripe fruit. Press it a little too hard and you get a mark. I've personally embalmed people where there is no bruising on the arms or the face before the embalming, and then the next morning I come in and all of a sudden, miraculously, there's these little purple bruises that have formed. So these bruises aren't real bruises because there's no active blood flow, but the capillaries under the skin are so fragile that the slightest pressure can cause dramatic discoloration. Next up is livor mortis, also known as hypostasis. This is basically gravity doing its thing. After the heart stops, blood sort of settles in the lowest part of the body. So if the Pope was lying on his side or face down for a while before anyone rolled him over, that pooling can look just like a bruise. It's not trauma, it's just physics. No one's whacked him, no suspicious nun on the run situation. And then there's cyanosis, that blue or purple tint you can get when there's not enough oxygen in the blood. It happens all the time with heart or lung failure, especially at the very end of life. And I know it can look scary, but it's literally just the body doing its best with what it's got left. Now, here's something I noticed as a mortician. I think it's important to mention that nobody seems to have tried to cover this bruise up. In the US, if someone comes in with a big, obvious bruise, we'd use restorative cosmetics, basically funeral home makeup, to even things out and make the person look even more peaceful for their viewing. But that's not always the case everywhere. In many parts of Europe, especially at the Vatican, embalming isn't always the standard, and neither is heavy cosmetic restoration. Sometimes families, or the deceased themselves, like the Pope, request that their body be left more natural, or even specifically ask for no embalming or makeup. So if you're wondering why that bruise was just out there for the whole world to see, that's a big part of it. They likely honored his wishes and kept things as natural as possible. Covering bruises during restorative work, it just isn't as common in those traditions. So the Pope's face probably looked exactly how it did when he passed, right down to that very visible bruise. No mystery makeup magic, just the reality of what happens after death when you don't embalm with heavy chemicals or cosmetize. But for the record, once more, he was embalmed. They just did not use as heavy as chemicals as we use over here in the States. Bruising is just one of the 1,000 weird things that can happen post-mortem. You might see swelling, sometimes the lips turn blue, hands get waxy, or my personal favorite, a perfectly placed lividity mark can make it look like someone took a nap on a blueberry pie. This stuff is all normal, especially in the elderly or the seriously ill. So no. There's no grand Vatican conspiracy, no last-minute brawl with J.D. Vance in the back room. It's just biology, chemistry, and gravity doing their jobs. At the end of the day, embalming only slows decomposition. So the body is going to do what the body naturally does, even if we do arterial injection, embalming. I will be very interested to see how he holds up throughout the week. His funeral is not until Saturday. I am really glad that the Vatican decided to go ahead with the arterial injection, aka embalming, because I don't think that his body would have held up naturally all the way until Saturday. And with public viewings and public goodbyes such a big part of Catholicism, I am really glad that they did that for him, even though I know he wanted to go as natural as possible. I'll definitely be posting updates if any other bruises or post-mortem changes spark the interest of the general public, or me. If you want more behind-the-scenes death facts, or just want to know what really happens in a funeral home, hit that follow button, like and subscribe for more mortuary myth busting. See you next time. Bye-bye.